From the Gospel according to Matthew.
Glory to you, O God.
At the sight of the crowds, Jesus' heart was moved with pity for them, because they were troubled and abandoned, like without a shepherd. Then he said to his disciples, "The harvest is abundant, but the laborers are few. So ask the master of the harvest to send out laborers for his harvest." Then he summoned his 12 disciples, and he gave them authority over unclean spirit, to drive them out and to cure every disease and every illness. The names of the 12 apostles are these. First, Simon called Peter, and his brother Andrew. James, the son of Zebedee, and his brother John. Philip and Bartholomew. Thomas and Matthew the tax collector. James, the son of Alphaeus, and Thaddeus. Simon from Cana, and Judas Iscariot, who betrayed him. Jesus sent out these 12 after instructing them thus: "Do not go into pagan territory or enter a Samaritan town. Go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. As you go, make this proclamation: the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Cure the sick, raise the dead, cleanse the lepers, drive out demons. Without cost you have received, without cost you are to give." These are the words of our brother Jesus.
And praise to you,
Jesus the Christ. As many of you know, I volunteer at the soup kitchen every Thursday. I've been doing it for 14 years now. And there are stories that you hear that can hit you in such a way that you lose your breath at the depth of feeling. You don't just feel sorry for a person. You don't just have pity for them. You experience the gut-wrenching compassion that Jesus experiences in today's reading. The ancient Greek word for this actually refers to your viscera, your physical guts. Jesus' stomach hurt when he saw their pain. We are called to step into this space that others occupy and act, not to hand out platitudes about a promised land to come, but to get our hands dirty, tilling the soil and working the harvest. In our first reading, we hear about the kingdom of priests, not just a select few, not just one tribe, but each and every one of us is called to work in a way that suits our talents. The work of justice and healing is no longer just for the hierarchy, but belongs to the entire community. Our second reading, Paul tells us that we have been filled with the Holy Spirit, that we should use that to persevere. There are days when we need to persevere more than others, but perseverance builds character, and character produces hope. And it is when we are filled with hope that we can answer the call with love. But what are we called to do? We're called to have that gut-wrenching compassion for each other, to feel with people, not just for them. We are called to remove the barriers society has constructed between the worthy and the unworthy, because the truth of the gospel is that none of us can earn God's love, which means that none of us is unworthy of it. If God refuses to set boundaries around his love, what right have we? And are we to just have that, who are we to have that gut-wrenching compassion for? Well, everyone, of course. But Jesus calls us to special attention to those on the margins: the sick, the lepers, the demon-possessed, and the dead. Now that seems a little difficult these days, but let's translate those commands into our 2026 reality so that the call can be a little clearer. Curing the sick. We don't have a magic wand that can make everything okay, but we possess the ability to advocate for universal health care, to help at free clinics, or simply to be present with those who are chronically ill or in crushing medical debt. Cleansing lepers. In Jesus' day, the leper was the ultimate social outcast. Who today needs our help in erasing the stigma that separates them from the rest of society? The unhoused, the imprisoned, our LGBTQIA plus siblings, the mentally ill, the immigrants. All of these are groups in danger of being cast out of society, of being made invisible. We are being called to help erase the stigma that makes them feel invisible, ensuring they are welcomed into the center of our community. Driving out demons. Many of the demons we face today are systemic. Racism, environmental destruction, toxic polarization. There's no easy answer to these problems. And yet the answer is one word: love. When we choose solidarity over tribalism, protection of our common home over consumerism, and bridge building with our enemies, instead of that division, we can find ways out of these systemic issues. We are called to love without boundaries. Raising the dead. We may not be able to call forth Lazarus, but we are called to reach out to someone in despair, someone isolated, someone caught in addiction, and let them know that they are not alone. We are each called to go out into our community, to see with the eyes of Jesus. This is what it means to be called to discipleship. This call was not just to the 12, but to each and every one of us. If we were to write the gospel for this very moment, it might sound something like this. Then he summoned the disciples and gave them authority over unclean spirits to drive them out and to cure every disease and every illness. And the name of the disciples are these: Eileen and her husband JP, Greg and his wife Bridget, Sue, Chris, Marianne, Tony, Pat, Kendall, Joris, Sarah and Mark, and their children, Greta and Basil. Sister Gloria, Grace, Enrique, Elizabeth, and Sue. The harvest is waiting. Will you go into the field?